Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frame Trap. On this episode, I am joined by Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And Brad, once again, champion of filling in. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
I'm your host, Ben Moore. You're getting back-to-back episodes of Frame Trap, the best show on Easy Allies. Aren't you so lucky?
That's
no,
true.
Not really.
No, it is the best show. 100%.
Man. This is why you're the unofficial.
100%.
This is why you're the unofficial co-host.
Yeah.
No, I was on vacation a few weeks ago, and so we're trying to get the schedule back on track. So that's why you're getting back-to-back episodes. Don't get used to it. For the intro today, we're coming up on summer. At least where I'm at, it's getting hot. We had like
spring is barely started.
Okay, all right. I know you're right. You're right. You're right to point out my absurdity there.
Ben sent me a request for something. I'm like, that's 2 months away.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's next month. No,
Yeah,
it's 2 months away.
This morning I was like in a daze because Bloodworth was like, because it was the Capcom fighting game collection. Of course I'm all over that shit, like a rabid dog. And Bloodworth was like, it's 2 months away. And I was like, I just watched the trailer and it said June. That's next month. And I was convinced for like a good 5 minutes. And then it hit me like a truck. That June is in fact 2 months away. So I'm losing my mind. I'm going senile. That's okay. Whatever. Live and let die. But anyway, it's been hot. It's been hot where I'm at. It's been like 90-degree weather. California, I feel like this job fucks with my sense of time, but just being in California fucks with my sense of time.
Especially since you didn't grow up here.
Yeah,
We had like 90 to 100 degree heat for like 3 days, and then it dropped instantly back down to the 60s.
Yeah.
This is all I know.
Yeah, it's very weird to me. Like in the Midwest, like the seasons really do help with like your internal clock in a strange way. But anyway, all right, so we're a long ways off of summer, but are you thinking about summer at all? Do you have any potential summer plans?
Just go to the beach, man.
Go to the beach?
I've been going to the beach more now.
Hell yeah.
I've been like making an effort, even just for like an hour or so, just to hang out and splash around a little.
Nice. Brad, I feel like that's kind of similar to me. In the last 4 days, I want to say, I went to the skate park twice. Sick. And I want to keep doing that.
Sick.
I really want to commit to it. Hurt my wrist a little bit.
Ooh, gotta wear those wrist guards.
I know. I just bought some stuff. I bought wrist guards.
Do they not make you wear pads at your park?
Oh no.
Really? Oh wow.
No.
Okay.
No. Oh man, it was like, because we got up early to go on Sunday. We got there at like 10 a.m. and we were like, okay, this will be like a good time where like we like it'll be cool. It won't be so hot because it won't be noon yet. And, like, no one will be there because I feel like people really start coming in around noon.
Yeah.
Turns out there was,
everybody.
There was a little kid, like, skateboarding lessons.
Oh.
And it was the worst thing ever. I mean, these kids were adorable, but they're just, like, sliding around, like, on their butts on the skateboard. And, like, I love kids. I don't love kids, actually, but I love how funny kids can be. Because they have no awareness, right? And that's especially dangerous at a skate park. Like, they are just, whatever they're doing, they are just completely absorbed in that activity. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not aware of, like, the BMX bikes going by or the other scooter kids or skateboard. They're not aware of any of that. So you have to watch out for them.
Yeah. Well, it's like going down the bunny hill. If you're, like, snowboarding or skiing or whatever, it's, like, often the most dangerous because people are learning on those hills. And they're, like, instead of, like, if they're out of control, you should just fall, okay?
Yeah.
These people don't fall a lot of times. They just go down the hill a million miles an hour.
Speaking of learning to fall, that's something I got to do because, man, I still stick my hands out. And
that's bad.
You super bad.
You gotta
super bad.
Roll, baby.
Yep, for sure. You got to do the knee slides. That's why you need those.
Oh, sure. Knee pad. Yeah, absolutely.
Bloodworth, how about you? What are you thinking about for the summer?
There's a couple of trips that we have in mind, but I haven't actually planned them yet, so I don't know when they're going to happen. Usually go back to Omaha to see my wife's family in the summer. But that's shifted around like year to year exactly when we go. A lot of times we're there for July 4th.
It's so close to my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then, I might visit some people in Seattle, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to do that. So
yeah. Maybe I can solicit your guys' opinion real quick before we get into the games. So I'm thinking about Evo, right? And I did Evo online last year, and it was like the most fun I'd ever had in my life. But I'm just worried because
what are you gonna play?
Well, I want to play King of Fighters 15 because it's so much fun, but I feel like I will not have time to practice in the way that I want to.
No, King of Fighters, you got to learn 3 characters.
No, too. I know, and I'm just not going to be able to commit. And so it's like, do I spend the money to do it? Do I just go and watch? Like, what do I do?
I think you should do it if you enjoy doing it.
I do enjoy doing it.
You just said it was like the most fun thing in your life.
It is.
Maybe you should do it again.
The last 2 Evo experiences, I mean, in person was way better than online, but yeah, it was so much fun. I don't know. I should probably just do it. I should probably just do it. Okay. A rare move on Frame Trap from me. I'm going to be the first one to talk about a game.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm first on the lineup. Going to talk about a game that I cannot wait to talk about with you guys. That probably no one else cares about, and that's okay. That's Rune Factory 5.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Yep. It is one of those games.
It's okay. You can sell me.
Yeah. But I was really looking forward to Rune Factory 5 after dabbling a little bit in Rune Factory 4, and holy shit, this is like therapy. The game. Oh. It really is. Like if you like Blood, I feel like you and Isla, and Brandon did a good job of kind of articulating the joys of Animal Crossing and how like you don't have it doesn't take up the same headspace as other games, right? It's not something that you're trying to beat. It's not something that you're constantly obsessing over. It's just something that you sort of find a rhythm in and like let yourself sink into it. And that is exactly Rune Factory 5. And so I'm sure a lot of people are not familiar with this game, so to kind of get them up to speed, it is a farming / town simulator / action RPG all in one. And you kind of do all of those things throughout the course of a week. And you have everything is governed by time and seasons and holidays and all that sort of stuff. And each day, right, like you're paying attention to things like, oh, like when do the shops open, or when is this person going to be over here, and like everybody has their own routine and all of that stuff. But the reason that I like it so much is its attitude. It is sometimes I think you can do a friendly attitude or a cutesy attitude, and it can feel insincere, or it can feel like it's trying too hard. I think it's actually very, very difficult to be constantly charming and likable and feel very genuine. And I think that's something that Rune Factory 5 does really, really well. And like all of these characters have like quirks about them, right? So one of the carpenters is like, he's like insane, right? Like he has a little bit of insanity in him where he's like, I want to renovate the whole town, and I wanted to like make secret changes to houses, and I'm worried that they're going to grab the pitchforks and run me out, right? And so he's a little bit crazy, but then you also have, just like this cute pink-haired girl that's a bookworm, or this more tomboyish girl that like is in the medicine shop. And the game does a really good job of letting itself breathe and giving you a ton to do, right? So if you want to just go out into the field and hunt a wanted monster, you can just go and do that, and you can spend hours and hours and hours of in-game time. And in-game time moves very, very quickly, just looking for that monster, and then be like, oh man, that was my whole day. Or you can really focus on tightening up your farm, and your farm has so much utility to it, right? Where not only is it a great way to make money, and there's so many things that you can spend money on, like that's your primary source of income, I feel like, but also you can use it for things like cooking, and then that's a whole different thing that gives you like utility when you're out there in the dungeons. It can help you recover your health and your RP, which you use for various actions. And so everything kind of feeds back in on each other, but I feel like the pacing of it is so strong where it's like, okay, this day you're going to learn how to cook, and that's the thing that we're going to give you. The next day, you're going to learn, we're going to give you a goal of harvesting like way more turnips than you've ever harvested. And just day by day, you'll get all that stuff. And all that stuff, you don't have to do any of it. There's like this brilliant free-form nature to it where I feel like whatever type of player you are, like I'm realizing like some of my obsessive tendencies are coming out where it's like, oh no, like I have one plot on my farm that isn't seeded. Better go to the store, get some seeds, make sure that like everything is seeded, right? I think if you have kind of those OCD tendencies, this game is perfect for you. I feel like if you just want to get to know the characters, if you really care about characters in a game, and like that's a big reason why you love JRPGs, It does a great job of highlighting them. So you build up your relationship just by talking to them throughout the day, but all the time they'll just have these little scenes, right? And sometimes they'll be kind of comedic, like, oh no, ghosts are haunting the inn, and it turns out it was just 2 little kids. But other times you'll learn more about a character's backstory, right? And I feel like it's constantly shifting and rotating to kind of make everybody in the town feel important and special and unique. You know, and like these are people that you all really get to know. And you're not going to like all of them equally, but I think they're pretty strong.
I have some questions.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you're talking about... One thing I've noticed is I've just... Lately in games, this feeling of... You start the game, and it feels like you're in a tutorial for a very long time.
Sure,
Now, it sounds like there's a lot to learn in this game.
Yes.
Does it feel like that to you, where you're like, I'm in this tutorial state. I have no problem with tutorial, but like this sense of feeling like I'm locked into this for a while, and it doesn't feel like I'm actually playing the game.
Brad, that is such a brilliant, that's the best opening question you could have asked, because you're making me realize, because part of the reason I bounced off of Rune Factory 4 initially is, oh my God, this is so slow.
Yeah.
And it's just like the setup is too long, and you just don't have access to things. That is absolutely the case here.
Okay.
But I think I had braced myself for it because I had experience with it in another game. But yeah, I actually think that is something that would push a lot of people away because it takes a long time to get
I don't think it's like maybe necessarily unwarranted, because it does sound like there's a lot to the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I just love when somehow a game manages to find that fine line between that. Like it's obviously super hard to do, but it's like, do you feel it? Do you really feel like, well, let's get through this so I can feel like I'm playing the game?
For sure. I think you feel that both in terms of like character building and mechanics. And so like a good example is I talked about RP and how a lot of actions are governed to your RP. At the beginning, it feels like you do like 3 things and your RP's out, and you're like, come on, like I just want to till my field or water my seeds. Like I feel like I'm kind of prohibited from really engaging this in a full and enthusiastic way. And they just want you to take it slow. But it also does the thing of like, and Stardew Valley does this as well, and I don't like this when they're like, go talk to everybody in town, and you're like, that, like, I get it, you're just trying to get me to know everybody, but there's something about like making it a task,
right,
and
instead
like
of just
being forced to do it, right, that it loses that organic feeling, right, where you want to like talk to somebody because you like them or you're excited to hear what they have to say. And so it absolutely is super slow. And the beginning is not the most fun. Like it's not, you really have to be patient with it.
Yeah.
However, the only thing that I could maybe say in its defense is I feel like it's pretty upfront with, hey bro, like this ain't a fast game. Like if you're here, just kind of let yourself.
Yeah, I guess if they
into
make it pretty clear early on, like this is what you're getting into.
But yeah, it's slow for sure.
Other aspect that interested me. So talk about town building. I like this stuff.
Yes.
I always think back to like I love Dark Cloud because I loved building this town, even though you're just like placing stuff mostly.
Yeah.
And I loved, even if it was stupid in Bravely Default, the first one, like building up this town, like mobile style, and Ni no Kuni 2, the town. Does it feel satisfying that like building this town, you get some benefit out of it, maybe like a passive or something like that, you harvest faster or something like that, or like now you have access to this?
Yeah, so I'll give you, going back to that word organic, I'll give you something that happened to me organically in the game, and it was so satisfying because of the way that it unfolded. And so I have this delivery quest where this guy's like, bring me a squid. And I was like, I've been fishing for days. I've been fishing so much, and I just can't find a squid. This is so annoying. So I go to the carpenter, and there's all of these different things that you can renovate, right? You want to renovate the blacksmith, you can do that. You can get more items in stock, or like the place where you get medicine, you can get more items in stock, or you can modify your own home so you can put more stuff in your room, which is obviously cool and useful. But then it said something, and it was like, expand the general store. Also, now they'll sell fish, right? That's and it didn't tell me they're going to have squid.
Yeah.
But I was like, I kind of want to take a chance because I want to complete this quest. And so I invested, you know, a fair bit, at least where I'm at in the game, a fair bit of resources to renovate this general store at the cost of other things to complete this quest. Sure enough, I go in there, they have squid. Now, granted, I didn't have the 400 gold or whatever it is to pay for it because I out of the renovation, but it was such a satisfying moment to be like, this is something
that's cool
that I care about and I could take agency over. I really like that.
Sorry, last question. Yeah, I'll let Blubber talk.
No,
sorry, Blood.
Keep them coming, please.
So just based off what you're telling me, and I know you probably haven't had a ton of experience with this game yet.
It's weird because I feel like I don't know how long it is exactly.
Right.
My sense is that I've sunk in a decent number of hours, but I feel like the road ahead is still so long, so it's kind of hard to gauge.
But like what I'm getting at is, it seems like there's a lot you could do in this game.
Yeah.
You're saying like combat, town building, you know, farming.
Yes.
There's a lot in this game.
Yeah.
Does everything you do feel super kind of shallow, or do you feel like there's enough depth to everything to keep it interesting? Like I every individual activity.
I think it is because of the way everything feeds into each other is what makes it interesting, right? If this was just a farming game, I don't think I would stick with it. If this was just a let's make the town better game, I don't think I would stick with it. Like as an action RPG, it's super simple. Like a lot of the fights, it's just like, okay, I'm just running up and mashing the attack button, getting through it. And so I don't think any of those things are great on their own, but that's really not the point.
Right.
It's like you going out and exploring in a dungeon, finding things, and then being like, oh, like I can eat this, or I can plant this, or I can do something. Like it's encountering something and then that making you want to explore another avenue of the game.
Yeah,
and so on and so
sounds
forth.
like this kind of like synergy between everything connecting in some meaningful way. Some cool, like, little way at least. That's cool.
Yeah. Like I think about maybe a good example here is Animal Crossing. Like if all you could do in Animal Crossing is fish, that would be pretty lame.
It's more of a coming together.
Yeah. Not that fishing is bad, but I'm saying if that was the all-encompassing part of Animal Crossing,
cool.
It wouldn't be great.
With stuff like the farming though, and you're talking about like being able to like invest in the parts that you like more.
Yeah.
Like how forgiving like is that farming aspect? You're like having to like go around and like water every like square like in old Harvest Moon games like every single day, or your crops will all die off, or do they like let you like let that sit there and do what you want for a bit?
That's you can totally ignore your farm, but there are a lot of elements to it, right? And so like you got to put fertilizer in the fertilizer bin to make sure that, you know, that your soil stays good, right? And you're talking about the watering, right? So imagine your field is this giant square, and then within that, it's a grid, right? There's a bunch of little squares within it. So what you can do is, yes, you go around and you water each square, but you don't have to like line it up. It's like, okay, I'm in this row, I'm just gonna mash B, and it's like boom, 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 boom. So yeah, there is a monotony to it. There is an effort to it, but it's not like so much where it's like, oh, I hate doing this. And also, like just in my session today, it rained twice, and so it's like, oh, 2 of those days I just don't have to water because it rained, right? And so you have things like that that kind of circumvent it. There's also other things, right? So your different crops take different amount of time to grow, right? And so you can have like special chemicals that you put on them to make them grow faster, or if you use a sickle, you can like cut the plant and you'll get higher level seeds, which will give you better quality, right? But you don't get to harvest the thing, you have to replant it. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I feel like they guide you through it so step by step that it's kind of impossible to get lost. Or there's like so much to do that you can kind of just come back to it. Like I was looking for a wanted monster because it's in this southern region, and I just couldn't find it. And then eventually it's like, oh, here it is. And then there was another one where it was like, oh, this is way higher level. Like, I just cannot deal with this right now. This thing is killing me in like 2 hits. And so I'm like, okay, I'll come back to that later. But that is a feeling, and I think it's so weird to compare Rune Factory 5 to Elden Ring because they are not the same games. But as a player, that is a feeling that I really value. I don't want everything to feel safe all the time. To me, it's a real adventure when you can dart off in a direction, you can chase after something, and the game pushes back, the game says no. And I had that here where it was like, man, I just spent like 2 hours just exploring the world and running away from high-level monsters, and that was so cool. And like I feel like I understand this place better. Now I know I'm going to come back when I'm higher level, when I have better gear, so now I'm going to focus on the town. And it felt like I'm truly carving my own way through this, right? Like I bet a bunch of other people maybe didn't have those wild adventures that I had, and they played the game really differently, and I love that sense of freedom.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm just imagining this picture in my head of like being in Elden Ring and like tilling the ground and like trying to make a plot of land, and then just some giant skeletal hand bursts out and crushes you and smashes you against a rock or something.
That would be sick, bud.
No, it's a really cool game. The frame rate's terrible.
What are you playing this on?
The Switch.
It's only on Switch right now, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's on PC yet, which is a shame. The frame rate's not great. The loading times are not great. It looks like a PS3 game at best.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things where all of these things are true, right? And I certainly don't think that this is a game for everybody, but it's such a weird little gem of a game where you can just feel the passion, like this labor of love that I feel like is providing this really cool thing. Like there was another moment where there were these two girls, and they were like, oh man, like we were helping out the seed organization that you were a part of, where you kind of go and protect the town. Basically, you're like a town ranger, is essentially what your job is. But you've been doing such a good job that we don't really need to do that anymore. So like, where should we get part-time jobs at? And you can be like, well, you should go to the bakery and you should go to the general store, right? And then you go into the general store, and there's the person that you said that to, and right. And so it's like, wow, what a great like sense of passage of time, right? Where it was like, I've been growing up as an adventurer. The characters in the game are acknowledging that. And then my own growth is like putting, like, it's affecting their day-to-day life in like a cool way.
Cool.
You know, and it's like, it's such a small moment, but I really think it is what kind of elevates it above other things.
Little things like that can go a long way.
Yeah, for sure. Brett, I'm so glad you asked this little question, though, because like if anybody's curious about this, I do think, unfortunately, you know, and I'm not saying this as a point of defense, it's a game that you really have to kind of
put in the time
and be patient with. It's not something that I think you're going to turn on and fall in love with right away. For sure. Good stuff. Good questions. Bloodworth. I feel like I didn't get to talk about this on Frame Trap, or maybe I did, but I'm really glad that you were bringing this game, because I love this game. Batman Arkham Knight.
Oh, that came out before Easy Allies, so yeah.
Man, it's crazy because it's still such a good-looking game.
Yeah, that's definitely been one of the takeaways. Is like, this game looks good for being like 7 years old. But yeah, I mean, we went and saw the Batman, and then like on a previous Frame Trap, you were asking us about our favorite Batman, and it's like, I think it's Conroy.
Yeah,
like, really.
It is.
And I put it up on a Blood Pact poll, and I got voted for, and so I started. And on the stream, it was weird. Like, I had streamer brain. You know, like when you're streaming something, and just like no matter what you do, like the game just doesn't click.
Yeah. That happens all the time. Yeah.
No, it's so infuriating because like no one is ever going to believe you, right? Because all they see is you streaming. But there are times where I play games on stream, and it's like, I swear to you, I know for a fact I'm better at this game than what I'm showing.
Your skill and just like idea of figuring things out drops like by 20%.
It's like, it is. It's a 20% hit. It's like a streamer tax. Yeah, for sure.
But since then, I've been playing a lot of this. I'm almost done. I have like 50 riddles left. And then I'll be done with this.
Nice.
100%? Wow.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm sure like this is a common complaint, right? Is all the Riddler trophies.
Oh,
but it's just so annoying that like that's what the end of this game is. because I feel like it goes so long, it lets you forget how good the rest of the game, you know?
Sure.
And so like that ends up being your takeaway is like, oh, I'm so glad this is over, kind of a feeling. And also because like it's not like a normal like open world game where like this feels optional. In Batman Arkham Knight, it feels like you have to do this to see the end of the game.
Sure. You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like,
actually
it's not really annoying.
It's not like credits roll and here's the bonus chapter. It's like, no, the conclusion hasn't come yet until you beat Riddler.
Yeah. No, the way that it structures it is like you beat the story and then it like gives you like this wheel of activities and they're like, okay, beat this to like see the end. And then I feel like I did that and they were like, actually, there's still even more that you need to do to see the end. And like at that point, I was just like, I'm just whatever the tiny bit is that you have, I'm just gonna look like it. Just it felt like it was dragging it out so much.
Right, and I was keeping up with like most of that other stuff, like the watchtowers and the mines and all of that kind of stuff. Like that wasn't bugging me so much, and like even like the Riddler trophies on their own aren't that bad. It's just like there's 240 something of them.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like you could have cut out at least half of these things.
Right.
It's funny and Blood, because you're definitely going into the negatives, and correct me if you feel differently, but I feel like Batman Arkham Knight is definitely one of those games that's very easy to complain about, where it's like, it's easy to recognize, like, oh, I wish this was different, or this got on my nerves, or whatever. Like, people commonly refer to there being too much Batmobile, or the Arkham Knight reveal. And I think all of those things are true to some extent, but going through the game, it's really important to recognize how much it gets right. And I mean that on every level. Like, I mean that in the combat, I mean that in exploration. I think some of the story moments are, like, awesomely abstract and really well told. Yeah.
I mean, spoiler warning or whatever, but, like, the Silent Hill aspect of this game...
It's wild.
With Joker is just, it's insane.
Yeah,
I mean, it's literally insane, but it's really cool the way that they pull it off, and how it just messes with you the whole way through.
Yeah.
I love, you know, again, we talked about the actors and the fact that they went with those animated series actors just makes it feel so good and so authentic, but it's also, those lines are really well written.
Yeah.
You know, like the Joker lines that are in there, it's just like... Him just pushing the buttons so well, and then when you get like the other villains into lock up, and he like has a little commentary on every one of them.
Oh my god,
stuff.
yeah, I love that.
Just the GCPD, just the
GCPD.
the detail and the density of that building is so cool.
Yeah, you were touching on like. One of the things that Rocksteady is like some of the best in the industry at. And I feel like a lot of times when people make licensed games, the way that they wire their brain is it's like, we've got to include this reference. We got to include this reference. But like it kind of ends at the reference where it's like, oh, yes, I see that you did that thing. Obviously, the Arkham games have an ungodly amount of references, but it doesn't end there. They're like more concerned with being like, how are we going to make it feel like you exist in Gotham? And I think that's what that detail exhibits, where like it's just like, I just want to look around because everything you've put in here feels so cohesive and believable.
And that's where one of the things with the Riddler trophies kind of like gets under my skin a little bit, because the ones where that actually are riddles, it's like go figure out what this cryptic thing means. And there's one of them that was with it had like a little Solomon Grundy little room, right? And it was like you had to like go over this wall into this alley that nothing is in, and like follow music and open a door, and it's just like, okay, here's a little room with a like just like a little homage to Solomon Grundy. And that was it. Like, it didn't feel like a real place.
Sure, that's fair.
And also, like, there were just, like, layers of city and buildings to search until you finally wrap your way to that spot. It was like, it's a cool little Easter egg, other than the fact that it took me, like, 15 minutes to figure out where it was.
So that I feel like the way you're describing Riddler trophies is always where I start. I always start very enthusiastic about Riddler trophies whenever I sit down and play Batman. And there are really cool moments where you can have them, where like you see one and it's like, oh, how do I get there? And then you finally piece your way together. And then you have the ones where it's like, what are you even talking about? And like you just spend so much time, and it just completely halts momentum. I feel like every time I sit down to play Batman, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do all the Riddler trophies, and I just get burnt out.
Yeah, they always do too many.
Yeah. Like, I want to, but I hit this wall.
Blood, I have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
So, I haven't played this game since it came out, so it's been a long time. I liked the Batmobile in the game. I thought it was fun. But I do remember a lot of fights against drones, which got real repetitive real quick. How are they feeling this time?
Yeah, I'd say that's the main thing. The little tank battles just go on too long. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the Batmobile stuff, like, it's fine. It's cool. Like, I like the bits where like zipping around the tunnels or like doing platforming and stuff with the winch.
So some of my favorite Riddler stuff is the Batmobile Riddler stuff. Like, that stuff is really, really fun. Yeah.
Also, so there's like a lore reason for it, but the city of Gotham is like pretty much empty. There's no citizens. And I'm like...
It's so funny because, like, I know Jones has complained about that forever. Yeah. And it's like, I know, okay, so they're not like civilians walking around, but there are actually a lot of people on the streets, like rioting or whatever. And obviously, they're all bad guys.
I think about like now we live in an age with like Spider-Man, you're in New York City and it's super crowded and feels like alive. How does Gotham feel alive to you still? Like, I feel like in every Batman Arkham game, it's very much like lockdown every single time. Mm-hmm. Do you think it suffers from that? I was kind of like really hoping, like I always wanted that Batman fantasy of like stopping some guy in an alley trying to rob someone, like beating up some thug, and saving someone. But we like never really get that in this game. Do you feel like it's still fine with all that?
It's not something that's really bothered me.
Okay.
Yeah, because it, like I said, like there's enough crowds there, and like it of course they're all enemies, and it would be cool to have those moments like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I guess because it was,
but it didn't really bug me too much.
It's the fourth Batman like Arkham game.
Yeah,
we still like, I don't know, like maybe it's like an unfair criticism of mine, but I'm like, I think I was just disappointed when we got to that point. Like this is the fourth Batman Arkham game, and I still don't have that like proper Batman on the prowl hunting people.
I get where you're coming from. I totally do. I think Rocksteady does kind of alleviate that a little bit, where not only do you get a lot of criminal chatter, but like it's criminal chatter that evolves over time. Where like you'll go and you'll do an event in the game, and they'll be like, holy shit, did you see what he did at this place, right? And so I think they try to make it feel reactive.
That's really cool when they talk about like you as Batman. Yeah. That's cool, yeah.
And this might be a little bit of like
they make fun of the villains too, yeah.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of like a headcanon defense, but I think about Spider-Man and like Spider-Man loves people, right? Like
he does. You're right.
He would totally go and like mess around and crack some jokes. I feel like even if there were a bunch of people around, Batman would only be listening to the criticals anyway. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's just so.
I think because it would just help make Gotham City feel like a living place more. I guess.
I definitely think that comes into kind of going back to what Blub was saying, where like it's like empty, and then you see these like green and pink trophies just there, where it's like I think you're like movie set kind of feeling is justifiable in some way for sure.
But with some of those, I think the gadgets take a little bit more of a back seat on this, and what I thought was really funny is like the freeze gadget. Like I didn't get until I basically had finished the game. Because I just never noticed it, because it's just sitting on a random table. It's totally optional. It's only there for...
I didn't play it that long ago, and I do not even remember this gadget.
Yeah, it's really only used for like Riddler stuff. And so it's funny, and I think this, like, even the line launcher, there's like only a couple of times like in the main story when you really need to use it. And so I just feel like a lot of those things they didn't feel that useful. Like a lot of the times, even in combat scenarios, they don't always seem to come up to be that useful. It's like, well, I guess I can hack this guy's drone, but nothing else. Like I don't really have an opportunity to use these things, except for like when I build up a combo meter and then I can stun a bunch of people or something. But still, like really. Yeah, like I said, like really enjoy going through the story of it. Really enjoy really do enjoy like those moments, like when you do manage to like figure out like a whole stealth section and pull it off quietly.
Oh, that was actually something I was
like one of those things where like Spider-Man clearly copied this.
Oh yeah,
like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'd have to go back and really play through the games back to back to back to say this definitively. But honestly, I feel like some of the stealth combat puzzles in Arkham Knight are like the best in the whole series. And like if something like a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta is, in my opinion, like best in class when it comes to action combat, I feel like Batman, the more I play the Batman games, the more respect I have for what they're doing, where it doesn't require the same amount of dexterity or super precise timing as something like a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta, but the combat is so incredibly well designed where like you just, as you get further into the game and it's like, okay, I have to worry about this guy with a knife, or I have to jump behind this guy to hit him, or this person is throwing this thing, and it's just it's like a rhythm game in the way that you get into it, and it feels so satisfying.
Yes. So I actually really like the combat in these games. I think they're underrated actually in the combat. Like and how well it incorporates not only, you said like the knife guys, like the different types of enemies.
Yeah.
You are Batman. It's like incorporating your gadgets in combat so like seamlessly, and like honestly on the harder difficulties and like the no counter thing on them, like, it's like it could be super challenging, especially like the challenge rooms. It's like, man, this game nails making you feel like Batman.
Yeah,
like it's incredible how well the combat is in this game or these games,
and even just like fundamental combat design decisions. I love how much your combo matters, where it's like, okay, you can only do these actions if you get to this point, and you have to make sure that you like use it at the right time or the right thing once you have that sort of combo meter to cash in. And then like going an extra step further where it's like, okay, if you invest in this on the skill tree, you can make the combo count lower to do this. And it's so smart. Yeah.
Getting that combo meter, like, or the number up, it like gives me this like arcade high score feeling that I like just love.
Yes.
And not only is it that, it's like it rewards you in a gameplay way.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
Brad, you are absolutely nailing it. And why I feel like I when people ask us like, who do you think is doesn't get enough love in the gaming industry? It's always UI people. It's always UI people. It's always UI people. Because the way the combo meter in Batman, like it like shakes and like it just the animation of it makes itself feel so exciting, and you feel so cool for getting that number higher. And just the sound design of the punches is incredible. Those
it's
whacks
so good.
are amazing. The way the counters look, like that bright blue over the head, like everything is just really
Batman's
thoughtful.
Like his animations are super sick too.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man.
And then one of the other things I really like is just the way they bring in the other characters. When you have
like the Bat Family people, or like
Catwoman and Robin and Nightwing in there. And that's another thing. Like they bring that into the combo system too. To where it's like,
oh my god,
certain point, like just hit that button and then like you do this dual
sick.
attack,
dual attacks with them. It's so fun. Damn, now I want to replay this.
Yeah,
and then you end it. You end that attack by being the other character.
Yeah,
and so
it's
you just
really
kind of swap back and forth between them in a really seamless way.
Really hyped for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, It makes me a little bit nervous about Gotham Knights because, honestly, Gotham Knights is one of the games I'm anticipating the most this year, just because.
That's the one that did Origins, right? The same team.
Yeah,
which is underrated and also very, very good. And so, like, they've definitely proven themselves. But I have so much respect for the Batman games, and I feel like just over time that respect has only grown and grown and grown and grown. That I hope they don't lose what makes those games special, and I do think. They're going to be going into some like rough comparisons going.
Yes.
In,
I think them doing like the angle's different this time around,
sure.
And I think that's a smart idea. Like, I like Origins. I did not like it as much as the other ones though.
Sure.
Like I have more problems with that game, but like it feels like they're doing something a little more different now instead of just like we're going to like try to copy the same thing. Like we're going to do a different approach now. So I think it's a smart idea, and it's also been a long time. So I think I'm like pretty comfy with them doing this.
Yeah, I mean, the Court of Owls stuff could be just so incredibly sick. Like that's such a good angle to take.
It is. It's a really cool angle.
Yeah, I played through Origins the first time like 2-3 years ago, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Because it always seemed to me like this you could skip this one. Like that's how it always felt. Yeah. and I was like, damn, like, is it my favorite of the Arkham games? No, but I was so impressed by
and worth playing through it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten to Origins yet, so that'll be.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you do the Mr. Freeze DLC.
Yeah,
it's cool.
For Origins or Night?
For Origins.
Okay.
For Night, do the I think it's Batgirl. It's
either
Batgirl and Nightwing or Batgirl and
There's
Batgirl.
definitely a Batgirl
Yeah,
one.
because Heaver said he wants to stream the DLC with me, but he didn't elaborate beyond that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Blood. So you're going through Arkham Knight. You're just about to wrap it up. Do you think you'd want to jump into Origins right after that, or give it a breather?
I've been back and forth on it. Yeah. What's funny is I thought I would just. Well, at first I thought I was gonna like go back and forth, like do a night of Batman and then a night of Elden Ring, and just like bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll just blast through Batman, and then like no, it's been like a week later and I haven't finished it yet, so it's longer than I expected.
I don't think you blast through anything, Blood. Usually in video games, take your time, baby. Just enjoy the ride.
The thing that has been hard for me with Elden Ring is I adore it, and I've been also trying to just like pick at it a little bit here and there. Elden Ring is not a game that lends itself to picking at it. You either got to be all the way in or all the way out, and that's hard because I just haven't had the time to always be all the way in, and I want to be desperately. But yeah, I feel like just in terms of difficulty and just really game sense, I think is a good way of saying it. Like, if you're going to play Elden Ring, like you can't mess around. You got to commit to Elden Ring.
Yeah, Elden Ring's a pretty complicated game.
Yeah.
And like remembering stuff, they're like, I'm going here.
Yeah.
Like quest line, you come back 2 weeks later, you're like, what?
Yeah, you take a week off of Elden Ring and you're like, I have lost so much. Yeah, for sure. Brad, one of the most unexpected picks for a frame trap in a good while.
Yeah.
But you've been feeling it, which is pretty hype. One Piece World Seeker. Or you've been feeling One Piece, not necessarily One Piece World Seeker.
Yeah. Well, they announced that new game coming up too.
Yeah, the RPG.
That I'm really hyped for, Blood. So
it looks sick.
It looks sick.
Yeah.
I've said this before though with One Piece games. I'm always like, it looks sick.
World Seeker looks sick. World Seeker looks sick.
Seems good too.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I'm getting back in the One Piece. It's been a long time.
Nice.
Dude, I love this series.
It's incredible.
It's just like, it's one of the greatest adventures of all time, I think.
Well, just some of the like most emotionally resonant moments. Yeah,
it's just so good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm feeding the One Piece, and I haven't really played any One Piece games, and I'm like, all right, it's time to play some One Piece. So I remembered this game, and I was like, oh yeah, like open world One Piece, that looks sick. I looked it up on PSN, $60, and I was like, holy shit. And
Did you drop the 60? Okay.
No, listen, okay.
Holy shit.
There's also a season pass with like 3 different characters that's $30, and I was like, okay, whoa. And I go, I'm gonna look. I look on Amazon, dude. $20.
Okay.
I'm like, hell yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's where I was like, I'm never going digital only console ever because of stuff like this, where I can get deals.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm never doing that ever.
Yeah.
Anyways, get the game, pop it in. I'm like, all right. One Piece, I'm like, anime game, it's not gonna be that great, okay?
Yeah.
It's like whatever. I'm like, it's just stoked to play as the crew, be Luffy.
Some aspects of it look really good.
Yeah, some aspects are cool. Like visually, it looks pretty good. I was like, oh, this looks pretty nice. But open world One Piece game, super sick. But boy, this game is pretty rough. And essentially of a playing and moving around feeling like, man, do you not feel that smooth? And man, is there some like, because like, man, you think about Luffy, all the abilities Luffy has, the combat, like the animations look really
just the
cool.
raw personality of Luffy.
And Luffy, and like your attacks, it's cool, like your animations, but like, man, actually playing this is pretty rough. Yeah. It's like square most of the time. Like you have a few things you could do in there, but it's like really base. It feels like a really old game when I'm fighting people. It feels really old.
It's like having one of those meals where you're so excited about it and it tastes good, and then you're like hungry an hour later.
Yeah, but it's like you're on this like huge island, which the island itself looks really cool, and I like the island a lot. But right off the bat, dude, there's like barely any music, and everything just feels there's like no good like ambience really, and I'm like, this feels super weird and like empty and artificial.
My memory is definitely foggy of it because it's been a while since I've played it. But the word that is like quickly bubbling to the surface is just bland.
Yeah.
Like in terms of just this repetition, like there's just not being enough going on, and just like a game that you're excited about at the offset, and you reach a point where like I cannot play this anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely like trying my patience of like I'm playing this just because I like One Piece now. Essentially, like if it wasn't One Piece, I wouldn't keep playing this game.
Yeah,
but there's some cool spots, like you can kind of like zip onto some things with Luffy, like almost like a Spider-Man zip. Like he stretches his arms, you can like climb something real quick or like fly into the air really far. Like that's really cool. There's some like cool momentum stuff. But like there's like a skill tree you got to get to, and also some of the more interesting things are the things I feel like I wish were just normal. You got to unlock a little glide. He like spins his feet like a helicopter a little to glide around. Like that's really cool. But I wish I didn't have to lock it. It's not that big of a deal. But it's just rough, man. Yeah, this game is just rough, and I like it. I like One Piece, but I'm like. I could not recommend this game to someone unless you really like One Piece.
Yeah, it feels like the most basic of bones are there, but it needs to be
the
built
most
upon.
basic bones, but it feels like it needed more times. Like I could see the vision with this game, which is frustrating, I guess, because it is open world game and it's cool. There's like some cool things you can get, like side quests and like doing stuff with your crew. There's like a whole like a persona kind of thing with people. You could like level up by doing stuff with them. Like
I don't remember.
I'm like, man, that stuff's cool. You have to go on a little ways. And there's some sick, huge city that like it's really awesome. But then there's like these really annoying snipers that can like literally track you through a wall. You could be on the other side, man. They know where you are. Like, and they just shoot you. Like they don't miss. I'm like, am I playing Crysis here right now? Like what's happening? It's just like, damn, there's so many cool ideas here, but you just didn't execute well enough.
Is it all on like one giant island? Or
it's all one giant island so far.
Brad, this conversation is definitely bringing to light, I think, an irrefutable truth. Like, anime fans are so easy to exploit. And I don't mean that as an insult to anime fans.
I mean, it's true. Look at Jump Force, that game.
Yeah. No, I like, Brad, like, within the last year, I reinstalled Jump Force just because I wanted
You damn fool.
I know.
They got us.
You know, and like, the weird, like, Stockholm Syndrome you get with this stuff where you're like, yeah, it's not so bad. Yeah. And like a good example, there's multiple examples, right? I played through both Attack on Titan games in their entirety. And in comparison to other anime games, they're pretty good. But if you like really want to it's like
we
come on,
they're
like
anime games at a different level.
Strong curve.
I know. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ is like the shining example of an anime game.
Yeah.
Actually, some of those Naruto games on the Ubisoft one was cool. I played back in the day.
Glover's champions.
Oh, really? Naruto game I played the first one. It was cool, like back in the day. I don't know how good it is now.
And there's a couple of the GameCube fighting game ones. Yeah.
The other day, there was an announcement of a Made in Abyss game. And I love that first season of Made in Abyss so much. I immediately was like, blood, as soon as we can get code for this, I need it. It's probably gonna be trash.
Yeah, it's like I want that One Piece RPG. I'm gonna play that shit.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely. It looks sick.
Yeah, it looks sick every time. It looks sick.
Yeah.
Despite my qualms though, Ben, with this game, I am happy to be in this world. This world is super great.
I'm so glad that you said that.
I love these characters and everything like that.
Sometimes it's all you need.
Sometimes that's all I need. I don't need, I guess, a 10 out of 10. Like 6 out of 10. Like
absolutely.
I will play this game.
Yeah.
And like I will be annoyed often at things and just be like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just love playing it. And I just love being in this world.
For sure, dude. I completely get it. I know we had this conversation off camera, but just to reiterate, and I know you don't like Muso games, and I do like Muso games, so there's an imbalance there. I was legitimately like pretty impressed with One Piece Pirate Warriors 3.
I was playing I was playing this game this game, World Seekers.
Yeah.
And I was like, this game's not very good. I was thinking in my brain, and I just remembered I'd hear you in my brain be like, but the One Piece Pirate games are good. And I'm like, God, I'm so mad I don't like Muso games.
I know. And they definitely are, and you definitely probably will not like it, and so I shouldn't recommend it, but if
I could pick this game up for like $20, I'd probably do it.
I wonder, I don't think I have a physical copy, otherwise I'd just...
Dude, I got this game for $20, maybe I can get that for $20.
Oh boy, as somebody who gives Koei Tecmo more money than he should, more money than they fucking deserve.
Yeah, every time.
They do not like to discount Dynasty Warriors games, and it's like, come on, You're selling fast food at premium prices. What are you doing?
Yeah, but you never know because this game was $60 on PSN.
Yeah,
and I got it for 20.
True. I've been looking at digital storefronts. You're right. I should hunt physical. That's a good point.
Sometimes I'm like, I got the next day essentially, and I was like, whatever. I'll just get it here. I'll save $40, and I was like, and if
can you imagine if you spent $60 on that?
Yes. Because, Ben, I'm playing this game, and I'm, still thinking about...
No.
I'm, at this crossroads, and I'm playing this game. I'm going to be thinking this the whole time I'm playing this game. I'm going to be like, am I going to get that season pass?
No! Dude, it's insane. When it comes to, anime and love for it, your brain just breaks. In Jump Force, I was like... I don't know. Should I get this DLC? This game is totally not worth it.
The first one you play as Zoro. I'm like, I want to play as Zoro.
Yeah.
How am I not going to want to play as Zoro? But the problem is, everyone
they charge you for playing as Zoro, huh?
$10 for one.
Is it another story chapter, or you just put them in the main game?
I think it's a story thing, actually.
Okay.
They have their own campaign. I don't remember who the other two characters, but it's pretty much every One Piece character. I'm like, I want to play as you. Every single person in this universe I want to play as.
You want to play as the whole Straw Hat crew.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
It's just damn, I'm getting suckered, but I love it.
But I'm the worst person to give advice.
I know!
But
it's like I'm talking to a mirror when I talk to you about this shit.
But sometimes you just have to let yourself make bad decisions and revel in it.
Please be good One Piece RPG. Please
I know, right?
Really, dude, if it is a 7, Ben, I will be so happy.
If it's a 7, it'll be a 10.
Yeah. That's a 10 on the anime scale.
Yeah.
Fighters doesn't count.
Yeah, I really think Arc System Works would do incredible work.
Of course they would.
One Piece.
Of course they would. Yeah. Anything they would do would be any property. Man, they could do Secret Life of Pets fighting game. It'd probably be cool. Think about it, a Minions.
I'm just gonna say Minions.
Somebody is making that Super Pets, whatever DC Super Pets game.
If it ain't Arc System Works, I don't care though.
Right.
What's that? Multiverses.
Yeah.
Man, I don't care about that game at all.
But you could be Gandalf in it. I want to play Gandalf at least once.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous. Gandalf's not even the weirdest one.
Arya Stark is pretty weird.
Yeah. Arya Stark is bad.
Yeah.
But dude, tag team Gandalf and Batman, sick.
I don't know what it is, cause you combine Marvel and Capcom, and I'm like, this is the sickest shit in the entire world. But there's just something that is so unbelievable to me about a Batman Gandalf crossover. My brain, my heart wants to get there, but my brain can't.
Well,
and I don't know what it is.
You have Capcom, who back in the day was the king of fighting games.
Yes, the gods.
The gods making an X-Men game.
Yeah.
Back then, they could make anything, and I'd be like, yeah, 100%, this can be sick. But it's whoever's making this fighting game, I have no idea.
Man, if Street Fighter 6 sucks, I think I might just be done with video games. Yeah. I think that would be too much for me to take. Yeah. I think I might just back it up.
Dude, Capcom from where they were in the fighting games. They were fighting games.
Yeah, they were. But in a weird way, and I know Street Fighter V has gotten much better. I know, you don't need to make that comment for the 10,000th time. But something that I am grateful for with Capcom not being as dominating is I do feel like it's let other games really jump into the
System
spotlight.
Works is a big name now.
Yeah, not that obviously Tekken was very popular before, but I feel like Tekken 7 got way more love as a result. I feel like Arc System Works has become a powerhouse. Yeah. In part
They're
because
one
of this, SNK coming back, all that stuff is awesome to see. Yes.
But yeah, One Piece. I'm gonna keep playing.
Yeah. Do we know when that RPG is coming and who's making it?
I just know Bandai Namco's publishing it.
Yeah, it's this year, pretty sure, but because it's for the anniversary. 30th anniversary, right?
I think it's 25th?
25th or 30th, somewhere in there.
Man, so many things that could be cool that they just shit out to ride the wave. I believe there was a One Punch Man game that came out that no one cared about. Yeah.
Probably terrible.
Yeah. The My Hero Academia
right.
Anime games are just
so
not
dull.
good usually.
Yeah, and it's
it sucks. Because the material is so sick and there's so much potential.
Yeah. Make it right.
Do
make
right
it right by the
but
fans.
like every time, maybe once in a while you drag.
That's
them
the thing though. Is like anime fans are so when an anime fan gets really attached to a series, they become insane. Yeah. They will defend it to like their dying breath.
Well, it's like Nier fans, the same thing.
Yeah, it is. There's other parallels you can make, right? It's coming from a place of passion.
Yeah.
And when you love something that much, you're like, I'm mad that this is bad, but I need it.
I'm
right?
Gonna put up with it. Yeah. It's like a drug. It's bad. Yeah. But I need it.
Yeah.
I'm like a heroin anime addict or something.
Yes, it is. Anime is heroin.
Yeah, anime is heroin.
It's at least as bad as heroin is to you on your soul. Yes, yeah.
Don't watch it.
Spicy. All right. Speaking of spice, let's get into the sizzle. We were talking because we saw Sonic 2 over the weekend and had a wonderful.
We did. We had a good time.
Spoiler mode. I was reading through the comments of that spoiler mode, and everybody was like, "Man, you guys were so harsh in the movie," and it was like, "Yeah, but I feel like I spent most of that spoiler mode like." Laughing,
yeah,
like
we had a good time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a great movie, but we had a good time.
It's not.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were talking about the Knuckles spinoff, and that got me thinking, if there could be any TV show about any video game character, who would you want it to be?
Any video game character?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the best choice, but it just popped in my head is Kiryu.
Fuck.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's one of the sickest characters of all time.
I would just watch an entire season of his life as a taxi driver.
Yes.
And just an episode. Every episode is just him dealing with a new client.
So good. Yeah. So good. I'm hoping they make an anime of Yakuza. It's like, who doesn't like Kiryu?
No.
Please tell me.
I don't.
I think it's literally impossible if you play these games not to like Kiryu.
I think it is literally. I have never seen that comment in my life. I've seen people that don't like Yakuza. I have never been anyone say like I don't like Kiryu as a character. Yeah. He radiates awesomeness on every level. He's a perfect human.
Yes.
He is the best. He's the best art, and he's fictional.
Yeah.
He's an ideal man. Kiryu is a great answer. Blood, you got anybody?
It's weird when you say like a specific character. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Garrus from Mass Effect.
Oh, that's a good one.
Cool.
You could do a lot of cool.
I think
Mass Effect
somebody might
shows.
be doing a Mass Effect thing that hasn't happened yet, but I don't know for sure.
Blood, that was a great answer. It was a very, very, very good answer.
But yeah, that guy's got history.
Sure does. Joke answer.
Yeah.
Knack.
The thing is like I don't even think I could bring myself to watch Knack for the memes.
No, you couldn't.
I couldn't.
No one could.
I don't think I could.
No one could.
I don't think I could do it.
The problem is Knack is already trying to be like a kid's cartoon, and just failing at it.
Knack 2 is better though. I heard. I didn't even play it. When you guys streamed it,
I feel like Huber gaslights me with Knack 2.
Huber does that with like everything. If you don't like something he likes,
like is Knack 2 better? Yes, but like to the point where I think it's like defendable. No.
It's one of those things where it's like I think like the gameplay of Knack 2 is better. Like the story is like maybe like 0.2 better.
Yes, thank you. I feel like I'm talking to reason. That stream, I've never like lost my mind or more in a stream. I feel like I was going to say more so than Darkened Sky.
Yeah, I got a good answer actually. I think this could be cool.
Yeah.
So they kind of messed around with this. They announced something like this a long time ago. It never happened. Okay, I think a Sly Cooper like cartoon could be really cool.
Oh yeah,
like a heist.
Oh my god, yes.
Like just every episode or 2-part episodes is like a heist or something.
That could be amazing. Yeah,
that'd be so fun.
You get the right studio behind it for sure. I feel like I've said this a lot on the show, but it's still true. I was really blown away with what they did to Castlevania and how they sort of took this material from a game that really doesn't have much of a story and really went in on it. And like so many classic properties you could do that with. Like I would love to see like a fun but with a good story Metal Slug series. Like how sick would that be? Yeah. Just with awesome animation. Yeah. Or like Ninja Gaiden, I feel like you could do really well.
Oh my god, yeah, Ninja Gaiden. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got ninjas, man. You got demons in there.
Yeah. You put it on a streaming service.
Ryu's
you let the violence fly.
Yeah, Ryu's cool.
Hey man, I read the novelization of Ninja Gaiden.
What the
on
hell?
the NES game?
Yeah.
Dude,
I didn't even know that was a thing. Holy shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they had a whole series of books back then called Worlds of Power. And so they had Ninja Gaiden, Castlevania 2, Mega Man 2, had a bunch of them.
Wow. That's awesome, Blood. Dang.
I would love to read the Mega Man 2 one.
Yeah,
Holy
and they're
shit.
like real quick reads. Like
Yeah.
something like if
Yeah,
you picked it
sure.
up now, you'd probably get through in like 2 hours.
This sizzle, that was a fun sizzle. This sizzle is brought to you by some wonderful shout out tier patrons. If you would like to find out more, go to Easy Allies or go patreon.com/Easy Allies, and you can be shouted out on all of our various shows. So we got quite a few names here, but in honor of the Kingdom Hearts 4 announcement, give me your best Kingdom Hearts 4 voice once I'm done with all of these. So, shout out to Elthanas, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Caleb Togi Crawford, Nick, Raymond Wheeler III, ZatVunDoot, Anacrothe, and Jabbawabs.
Shout out, Sora.
That was supposed to be Donald, but I don't know what came
Donald's
out.
a very hard voice
Yeah.
to do.
Shout out, go.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was good, Blood.
That was good.
Natural Goofy.
Brad,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're on this episode so I can talk to you about this game in particular.
Oh, okay.
My Gundam brethren.
Oh yeah, you started this the other day.
Yeah, I was not expecting much from Gundam Evolution.
How could you?
How could you?
Even when you were playing it, I mentioned this in chat, but the visuals, the parts of that game looked like the like dummy game that comes with Unreal Engine 5.
No, it does.
That they showed
It
off.
does. It does. I think, there are two caveats. A, you have to like Gundam on some level. And B, you have to play it because I think just looking at this game, you don't get why it's special. You can't. Because it has, like, I have everything on Ultra, okay? It's not a good looking game.
Oh,
It's
no,
just
no, no,
not.
no,
It
No,
runs
you're talking about things
fantastically.
that look like PS3 games. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about things that look like PS3 games. It looks like a as you said, like an engine demo for something. And the visually, the stages like there might as well just be one stage because they're all just like gray or brown blobs of nothingness. They have
There's
no
a red
life.
stripe now and then.
Yeah, but like they truly the stages have no soul at all. Like it's just they're
Like, no, is there like a sick colony or anything like that?
so like in fighting games people play on the training stage
Yeah.
competitively
Oh, you tell me
because
this
like
whole
there's
game
not
looks like a training stage?
It's like every stage might as well be the training
It's like
stage.
just a warehouse,
Yeah, it's
like
just
every-
everything is like that.
Ugh.
Okay, but keep in mind, I adore this game. And I did not expect to because, like, all of these things that I'm saying, I feel like they're true. And also, it is just an Overwatch class. It just is. That's what it is. You can't get around it, where essentially every mobile suit that you pick is a class, and you do it. And so, again, it seems like the stack is the deck is stacked against this game, but I think the way that they designed the mobile suits and the pace of this game is absolutely phenomenal in a way that like
I did not expect you to say phenomenal for an anime game.
Right. And so it
We just talked about this though.
yeah. Well, this is a little bit different where like I feel like I can the things that it does well, I feel like I can judge it not just in the anime game bubble. I think the mobile suit design is absolutely phenomenal where every single, like, so many of the mobile suits that I'll play, and I went out of my way to play every single one, and not just stick to one that I like, I'm like, oh, like, I can clearly see what the strengths and weaknesses are of this character and how different they feel in comparison to everything else, right? And so you'll get in one mobile suit where you are really good at hit and run tactics, where you can get in, shoot them, turn into a little flowing turret and fly away. Cool. You can have an incendiary grenade that like doesn't do a ton of damage on its own, but is really good at like creating choke points or like covering escape or something. And so it's just like just in this one character, there's so much to master master, like when to retreat, when to do your charge shot that's hard to hit with, it has a cooldown, when to throw that grenade, like what is the right opportunity. But and it's just like Overwatch, right? I think a lot of these strengths can be applied to, admittedly, Overwatch's excellent design, where there is enough going on with these characters, but you can understand them within a couple of minutes.
You got like two moves or two or three things, and it's like, you can, you get it. Like, you understand it, but it's like, you really don't get it until you start playing.
That's exactly what it is, Brad. And like the RX-78 is a great example of this, where the RX-78 can put up its shield and absorb a really healthy amount of damage. You have your beam rifle, which only has 7 shots or like 7 ammo, basically. Yeah. It does a lot of damage, has great range, but is something that like you can't just mindlessly shoot, otherwise you're gonna run out and have to reload.
Do you have the beam saber with it?
You don't have the beam saber, but you do have this hyper hammer, this flail that you can throw at them.
That's cool.
And it is so great because it does a huge chunk of damage. It stuns them, and like if you land it, it's like if you're in a one-on-one, you got the kill.
Yeah, it's over.
And it's so sick. But what's interesting about it is like the startup animation, because you like start it up and you're like whipping it around, but you're not locked in, right? So you can hit the startup animation, be looking this way, and be like, I want to hit that dude over there, and hit the button, have the startup animation go, turn, and then hit the guy over there.
Oh,
it's like,
so I did see one of them had like a grappling hook.
Yeah.
It looked like, but you hit it, it's not immediate. Like there's an animation, and like you play around the animation.
Yes, and it's like, of course you immediately understand, I hit the F key, I throw a thing out that can stun somebody and do damage, but there's all of this nuance going into like, how do I properly aim this thing? Or like, it can bounce off a wall and do, even if it doesn't stun, it still does some splash damage. So there's like a ton of stuff in there. And like Barbados is insane.
Yeah, that guy was wrecking you.
Probably
yes,
good
he
melee.
was wrecking
probably
me.
Good melee.
Yeah, he's great melee, but like when I was going against him, I was like, man, this seems so easy. Like you just run in there and hit people and stun them. But it's like, if you do it wrong, if you don't approach correctly, like you will get absolutely annihilated. You have no range to work with. Like you have a ton of mobility, you have a ton of melee damage, you have a strong stun, but even the stun, like you have to charge it up and release it at just the right time. And it's like, it's not just like you hit a button and you stun. And so everything I feel like has some nuance to it. And I also love, and whenever I talk about a fighting game, if I say this about a fighting game, I mean it is a huge point of praise. I feel like every single mobile suit I was trying out, I was like, maybe this is my favorite. Maybe this is my favorite.
Ooh.
Right? And I love that when I feel pulled in all these different directions.
Yeah.
The Zaku 2 is such a cool unit because it can do this smoke screen where it will be invincible from damage. And I was fighting against a great Zaku 2 player who was really good at using his dashes, getting in and out. And so many times I would do like 90 damage to him. He would have like he would have like 2% of his health left, and he would pop that at just the right time and get out, and I couldn't kill him. And it's like, what a cool skill to master, And yeah, it's so much fun.
How many players is it? Is it 6v6?
5-on-5?
5v5?
I don't actually remember. I think it's 6v6, but it might be 5-on-5.
Yeah. Do you know how many mobile suits there are?
I could try to count them out.
Did it feel like there was enough?
It felt like there was enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So this happens to me sometimes with multiplayer games, where the design of this game and how much fun it is to play, and I didn't even talk about like how tight the shooting feels and how fast it moves. It basically feels like you're playing Quake with Gundams. Like it's just like
that's unusual.
If you watch a stream of this, it is insane how quickly things move. Like dashing in and out, like how, like you just have to make decisions like instantly. It moves so fucking fast.
Yeah.
But something I don't like is sometimes I run into these games, and I feel like Overwatch was kind of this way too, where I really love the game, but there is something about either the player base or the design of like some multiplayer component where I'm like, I can no longer put up with this. And I was already feeling this with Gundam Evolution. So this is a game that I really like, but pretty much not every match, but almost every match that I was in felt like a complete landslide, where it was like, okay, like, and of course people are new, they're learning the game, like not everybody is up to snuff, but it's like, I felt like, okay, I'm in a team with people that like are clearly just still learning, which is fine. But then the other team is like, oh shit, like they feel like they've been playing all weekend. Yeah. Right? And so it's just like you just get steamrolled.
Is it a closed beta or is it just open beta?
It's a closed. You had to sign up for it, so it's a closed beta. It's a closed network test, yeah.
I see that, but it's really hard for me to like...
For sure.
Kind of like, worry about that too much right now. For sure. It's literally just a testing period. But
yes,
that does happen. The matchmaking will be super important in the future and how much they invest in that.
It is super important.
But I'm also afraid that they won't invest that much in this game.
Yeah, I'm really worried that like I said, this is going to be then a game that I like, but I'm just going to get too annoyed with certain things because like when you leave a match, the punishment is super severe, where it's like, okay, not only can you not join another match until the match that you were supposed to be in is over, but also there's going to be like another penalty on top of that. So you're locked out for quite a long time, which would make you think that like people wouldn't leave that often. But so many matches I would join and it's like, oh, we're just a man down. And like, why isn't the game just filling in their spot? Like, I feel like a good number of people are playing this. Why are we just going through this match that we're going to lose? And like sometimes it would be like, oh, somebody left, we're just going to end the battle. And it's like, okay, that's better, but that's still annoying. You know what I mean? Like just fill in the person. Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. And so like that would happen constantly. And then it's like I ran into those matches like over and over and over again where I just felt like we were getting steamrolled, we were getting steamrolled. It was like 4 or 5 matches in a row. I got frustrated. I left. It's like, oh, okay, I can't get back in. That's good. The game should punish me. 100% for that. And then, like, finally, the next match I got in, the first round, we steamrolled them. And then the second round, it was amazing. It was perfect. It was like, because you had to get to 100% on this, like, control point, basically, or these 3 control points. And we got to 100% and they got to like 95. And so it was like this butt really clenching, close, like, oh my God, like I love that feeling when you spawn and you're like, I got to get to the point. We're so close. I got to defend it. And so like that match was amazing. Let's say I played like 7 or 8 matches and it's like, oh, like I had one good one. Yeah. You know, and like that's just hard. Like you just feel like you're wasting time. Yeah. And I understand that multiplayer games are imperfect and that you're gonna have matches where you get steamrolled, you're gonna have matches where your teammates frustrate you. It's a part of it, but you know you're also not immune to those things frustrating
it's just
you.
Like how often does this occur kind of thing like that.
And it is a closed network test, right? That's, as you said, that's very important. My worry is that Gundam is still niche enough. And, like, there's so many things competing for other people's attention. Like, this game will come out, and it'll be good and fun for, like, a month. And then the player base will be so small.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I thought.
I worry about that. But, fuck, man, I really like this game.
I want to play it. I mean, Gundam Overwatch,
like,
I'm down.
Yeah, Brett, I want to play it with you specifically.
Yeah. Especially if they're going to add, like, more Gundams down the line.
There is a character that is just literally Genji, who is extremely powerful and fun. Yes. Exia, super awesome. No, I want to play with you so badly. I think you would be a great teammate, and we would just have a blast. We would be having a great time.
We'll play, dude, for sure.
I don't think you can get this game until you spend some time with it. Like Blood, I really want to review this game. That's how much fun I was having. And I can't imagine saying that about a Gundam game. You know, like I haven't said that in a long time. So, yeah, I was
okay.
Pumped.
Wow.
Yeah, I really do. I was having a blast. Blood, you checked out Moss Book 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was you or Brandon that was talking about it on Frame Trap, but I feel like at least one or a couple of allies were really into the first Moss.
Yeah, it's really cool. For people that aren't aware of how this is set up, it's sort of similar to Astrobot on PlayStation VR, and to where it's like, you know, your head, you know, is the camera in this world, but then you're controlling a character. But the setup for it is really interesting because they acknowledge you as a character. You're what the characters in the world call a reader, and so it's kind of like the thing that I wonder if it's inspired by in any way is like Never-Ending Story, because a lot of parts of the game are actually sitting in this library with this big book, and you're like physically like turning the pages of the book to get some of the backstory and stuff like that.
Page Master vibes.
And then you go in, and you know, and then you're actually like partnered with Quill, And so
I love that you brought that.
Yeah, you use the control stick to move Quill around and to jump and to attack. But then as the reader, you have like this like glowing kind of orb that you can use to like reach into the world and like grab platforms or move mechanisms around and all of that sort of thing. And so there's this kind of like neat concept of sort of like co-oping with yourself.
Yeah.
Didn't Astrobot do stuff like that too? I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since
There's a little bit of it, but it's I don't think it's quite as overt story-wise.
Yeah.
There's like I don't want to get too deep into it, but there are characters in this game that like don't trust readers.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Blood, game this is making me think of. You ever played Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures?
No.
Dude, I remember this game. This is the one where he has like the hang glider on the cover.
Yes. Yeah. So in that game, you don't control Pac-Man directly.
Yes.
You just like are like, look,
dude,
and you have to like get his attention.
So weird. Yeah, I was like, what is this?
I adored that game.
When I rented it, I was like, what is this?
No, we should stream Pac-Man 2. It's a really weird, fun game. Okay.
But yeah, so in terms of gameplay, like it's sort of like Zelda style adventure kind of thing. So you go into rooms and then like you kind of have to like puzzle your way through like how to get through this room, or there'll be like waves of enemies to defeat before like the walls come down and let you move on. And then, like I said, you can like reach in and like grab an enemy and hold it and then attack with Quill. And then healing Quill, like you actually like hold on to her for a second and like infuse magic back into her.
When you grab an enemy, does Quill have any sort of acknowledgement of like, oh, hey, like you're grabbing an enemy and like let me move over there, and does it automate any of that?
You're actually controlling Quill.
Okay, so it is all manual.
But there are times when she will like she'll point at something and she'll kind of get your attention and say like, okay, go over here, do that.
That's really neat.
And you can like scratch your ears and that kind of thing. And that's one of the things that's really great is just like how well animated and realized this world is. And so it's just a cool world. There's like constantly like you look up, it's like, oh crap, there's like shooting stars going by up there.
Yeah.
And when you go between, because again the camera is just like your head, so sometimes like you can kind of like look around the corner and see like a collectible or something like that and guide her through. But when you go between, like when you move from one screen to the next, you still get like that page turning sound, which is kind of a nice little plus. But they've added in some other mechanics in 2 as well. So one of the like first abilities that I got as a reader is you can like make certain plants grow, and so like there's places where she can climb up vines now, and so you can like kind of draw up the side of like a dead vine to make it kind of come to life, and then she can climb it. Or there's places where you can like there's like attach points, so you like grab one branch and then pull it over, and then you create a bridge for her to walk across. And then one of the other abilities is you can like charge her weapons now, and so you like hold the attack button and she'll hold the weapon up, and then you move over it and put the magic on it. And so with the sword you get like this dash attack, and so it can just like slice through multiple enemies, but it's also used for platforming to like go across longer gaps because she doesn't have that long of a jump. And so there's just like all of these crazy things where like, okay, so like I'm grabbing the swing, pulling it over to her, and then jumping on, and then going over here, and then dashing across. And then the first like boss fight that I've done is like just like it's not like super hard, but there's just like a lot going on to where it's like, okay, I've got cannons firing, I've got multiple ads coming in, and I've got like draw vines, get her up here, open up this thing, pull on. There's like these roly-poly enemies that are like, it's like basically like doing like a pinball machine kind of thing.
Cool.
Oh.
So you pull them back to turn them into a ball, and then you like kind of aim them and fire them, and they'll go up these big ramps up the wall, or they'll like go up a hole and like knock an enemy back that way. So there's like lots of just like very like tactile feeling kind of interactions.
Yeah, no, this sounds absolutely wonderful, and it sounds like the new mechanics are really meaningful. Like it seems like they learned a lot from the first game and really improved upon it. In terms of storytelling, is it like, you have these gameplay sections? Is it like are you getting a lot of this from the book? Are there like chapters? Are there moments where it kind of pauses and goes into that?
There are sometimes when because there is more stuff in the library a little bit too, which I've got to the point like, oh, this is spoilers for sure. But one of the things that's really cool about it is throughout there is a narrator, and it's sort of like an audiobook in a way, because even when there's like dialogue of Quill talking or her uncle talking or some other character that you come across, it's the same voice actor.
Oh.
So she just puts on a different voice to be Quill's voice, or to be this toad, this really cool toad you come across.
Puppeteer.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's a really neat device that like both serves, like it's like makes the narrative sort of part of the story, and just it's that whole like trying to wrap your head around like, okay, this, you're looking at a book, but it's a real world and there's things going on and they actually know that you're there, and not every character can see you, but certain characters like Quill can like bond with readers. But once there's one point where like she like tilts a mirror and like you can see yourself.
That's fun. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really interesting setup. And I've put about 3.5 hours or so into it, and I'm just like, now I'm getting into some pretty interesting stuff, both story and gameplay wise.
Yeah, I obviously don't want to go into spoilers, but just the interaction between like you as the reader and Quill sounds so interesting, where I wonder if you have combat encounters where it's like, oh, like Quill is immobilized and it's like it's going to come down to you to deal with this encounter, or your powers are disrupted some way and you have to lean more on Quill. Like, do they play with that dynamic at all?
They haven't done anything to where like you're totally, either one of you is incapacitated. But like I said, there's times where yeah, you do have to use like a mechanism that's in the world to attack enemies that that Quill can't get to. You know? So it's like, okay, I've got to, there's like this turret thing, like I've got to grab the turret and then aim the turret and then, shoot the other enemies with it, and then once you've used that, then you can take the turret out.
You mentioned collectibles.
Yeah.
Are these like completely superfluous? Do you unlock additional things? Are there like is there a resource they can turn in? Like, what is the extent of the collectibles?
Yeah. So far they do seem just like little cosmetic things. One of them, I'm not sure where it's going. So like in the library next to your book, there's like this page of like stained glass art, and so there's like these little scrolls that you'll see throughout the level, and like trying to figure out how to get to the scrolls in each screen is kind of a like part of the puzzle mechanics. And as you get each bit of the scrolls, it like paints in a little bit of that stained glass in the library. But I don't know where that's going. Like I've completed a couple of them, but I haven't got like any special reward for one or the other.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing is you just got like this what they call like relic dust from like smashing pots. Smashing pots is amazing in this game, by the way. It's like one of those things where like the animation of it feels like there's actually like a shard flying at your face. I'm like,
oh wow,
watch out. But once you get enough dust, there's like these little rooms where it's kind of like fills up sort of like a hand going around a clock. And once you have enough dust, then you can go into these rooms that have just like little costumes for her. So like I got like a little plate mail. I got like this leaf armor.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
I want you to get like a little Aloy outfit or something. I don't know. So I feel like this book 2 of Moss, this sequel of Moss, is coming out at like kind of an unfortunate time where I feel like like there's the hype for PSVR has died down inevitably, right? Understandably, as we're waiting for the next PSVR, which is coming, that has been announced. And so it's kind of this weird in between time. Do you think that like that will kind of hurt the prospects of this game? Do you think they could like re-release it with enhancements or anything and have that be fine? Or
yeah, well, I think because Polyarc is like just such a small studio.
Sure.
They're absolutely going to be re-releasing this once. Like they'll probably it's probably going to come out on Quest. It's probably going to come out on Steam. And then I would guess that they will probably do enhanced editions of both games for the PSVR 2. Once it comes out, because it is
books 1 and 2.
Yeah, and like it is continuous. Like you pick up right where one leaves off, and one did have like a very clear, like, okay, there's going to be more to this story. So I'm curious when I get to the end of 2 whether it's gonna be like this is it, or if it's gonna lead into like, oh, they're gonna make a 3 eventually. So
I think you gotta have a 3.
Sure,
that's what my gut tells me. Kind of an unfair question because I feel like I may be definitely more susceptible to it than you, but with VR, sometimes I'm relatively okay, and then other times, like I remember when I played Medal of Honor, I was like, I feel terrible. Like after I got done with the session, have you noticed that at all with Moss? I feel like maybe with the type of game that it is, it's not quite so much motion all the time. That it might be okay,
I think that's the thing. To where this style of game, which like I don't feel like there's a ton of, right? But it's like it's more of a stationary game. You do use a normal PS4 controller, and so it's really just about looking around and feeling like you're actually in that 3D space. You don't walk. As in that sense, so it's you pretty much it's always like in this fixed point. You can look around corners a little bit, but there's not really anything that's gonna like introduce motion sickness or anything like that.
Man, Astrobot, that year was easily one of the best games that I had played. I adore that game so much. It was a fantastic gaming experience that I had, and the way that you're describing Moss. This definitely feels like something like you shouldn't miss if you have the ability to play.
Yeah. I do think that it hasn't gotten the same amount of attention, but I think it's very very close to that same kind of quality.
That's awesome. Blood. Yeah. I said before the show, I was like, man, I just don't think I'm gonna get to Mod. You've bumped it. You've done it. You did it. You did a great job. Do you know how much those games are?
I don't.
20 or 30 probably.
Whatever.
I want to say 30, but I don't off the top of my head.
I'll look.
It could be 30 or 40, but I don't know.
Brad, you've got a continuation from last week, which I'm excited to hear about. You've been playing more Ghostwire Tokyo. We talked about it last episode, so really the big question is like, have your thoughts changed at all?
I don't remember exactly what I said last time, so it's been a while. But I will
say,
I
don't remember what I said at the beginning of this episode.
I will say I love this game. Yeah. I'm having such a good time going through it. Yeah. On paper, there's a lot of things that I'm burnt out on. Like, there's a lot of things in this game that I probably shouldn't like, but I'm enjoying in this game. So many collectibles in this game. You look at this map, this is a Ubisoft map. There's like things puked all over this map.
Yeah.
Points of interest, side quests to do. But man, I think just the act of doing it in this game is so enjoyable to me. One is the world. I love obviously the game takes place in Tokyo, but it's at night. It's like super rainy. It has really great atmosphere. The enemies in this game are super sick. They look really rad. There's like a lot of like headless like children running around that do like sick kicks at you. There's like business guys with umbrellas. This crazy like raincoat lady in all red with like scissors, like clock tower style.
Yep.
And I like the combat. It's not the most like in depth or anything like that, but I think what really strengthens is like the animations with your thing. So you got your wind, you shoot. It's like I equivalent to almost like the wind is your pistol. Yeah. Okay. Then you got the water, which is like a little more damage. You can do 6 spreads like a shotgun. Then you got your fire, which you could like charge up and shoot like a bomb or like a
you're really limited on your shots. With the fire,
but it's like you have less of that, and it's like pistol, shotgun, rocket launcher. That's what I equivalent it to. But it's really fun going around the city. You find little shrines. You upgrade your ammo count. There's like all these little cats and dogs around the whole city. You feed the dogs food. They take you to like more money. You could like pet everything like that.
Yeah.
And I just like nothing I would say is like blowing me away, but everything is super solid.
Yeah.
I like all the side quests. I like the story. I like the environments. Like some of the one side quest was, you were tracking down this snake demon, and it was like going around on the floor like almost like graffiti, and you're just kind of going from point to point fighting guys, and you like fight something at the end. I'm like, man, I really like this, but nothing's blowing me away. It's like the perfect 8.0 for me right now. I'm like,
that's exactly what I said to Huber.
This is like an incredible 8.0, and I love it.
Man, I feel like in another life, in another time, Ghostwire Tokyo would absolutely be a light gun game. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I could totally see that.
I could totally see you like with like just switching between like shooting off screen to get to different types of wind bullets. It has that sort of arcadey simplicity that I think is in a like almost refreshing in a way. But yeah, I really feel it's so heartening to hear what you're saying because after I got done with that preview, there were definitely people like I know like Giant Bomb like really hated the game. And I was like, I crazy? Like, am I crazy?
I could see why
like
people wouldn't think much of this game. I could see that.
No, but I get where you're coming from because in the preview we got to do chapters 1 and 2, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. I'll do like every side quest in chapter 2 for the preview. And I got to this point where I was like, I don't think I've ever played a chapter 2 of any video game that has had this many side quests.
It's so long,
like you do like a whole batch, and then they're like, here's some more, and then you do that whole batch, and they're like, here's some more, and you're like, bro, this is chapter 2.
There's a lot. But a lot of them,
but I liked them enough to keep doing.
The thing about a lot of them aren't super long.
No.
They're like like
long.
5-10 minutes. I'm like, that's what. Perfect. Like, you don't need to be longer.
Yeah, maybe, like, there was one that I was doing where you have to, like, get readings on the moon, and I just was struggling to find out where to go. Like, that one took me a while.
I think that's... Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying on that one, but one thing I do like about this game is, it's got the Ubisoft formula. It's like, you got your skill tree.
Yeah.
But so far, like, I'm pretty far into this game, but, like, I'm still getting stuff. I'm still getting upgrades that I want.
Yes.
That feel nice.
Yeah, I felt that way, too.
You definitely get to a point, like, Horizon was a perfect example for this for me. Like, I felt like some things in Horizon, like, I just didn't even care about. Like, the tree, like, the trap tree, I was like, stuff's, like, okay, I guess, but it doesn't feel super good. But, like, man, some things in this game could really help. Like, even, like, super important, it doesn't seem that important once you actually do it. It is important, like, like, where you, like, you do your attack to finish off enemies. You shorten the cooldown of that, like, doesn't seem that important, but I'm playing on the harder difficulty. Not the hardest where you die in one hit, but the one below that. So, like, if I
Tango Gameworks in there, die in one hit modes.
I love that, though. I love that. I respect it.
It's cool that it exists, yeah.
But it's like, if I get hit a lot of times, like, I'm close to dead kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, all these little things are really adding up to me going through this game, and, like, maybe just gliding in the air a little longer is, like, helping me a lot.
Yeah. And gliding in the air is so much fun.
It is a lot of fun.
So, what you're saying is something that we've always known is that in every single instance that you could possibly conceive, Japanese games are better than Western games.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Like, that's just a fact. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Like, this is a Ubisoft open world game.
Right.
Like, when you like look at it, but it's like, first person, they have their own little spin on it, and it works, I think. So I'm having a really damn good time with this game. Like, I can't wait to keep playing it.
Yeah, it's so weird, and I've said this before, but it makes me feel exactly like the Evil Within 1 did, despite being a very, very, very different game from Evil Within 1. Because, like, the Evil Within 1 is special not because, like, the Evil Within 1 has so many rough edges. Like, it's such an imperfect game, but that's why it's beautiful. It feels like so different and singular. And you're right, yes, this is very much, like, you can compare it to any Ubisoft open world game. In fact, that might be the best comparison for it, but I feel like it is that template, but with a soul.
Its presentation has so much soul. Like, this game looks like artistically like really good. I really love the way this game looks. It sounds like also the DualSense, man. The DualSense in this game. It's like I've come to love the DualSense more and more as it's gone on.
Bloodworth and GT7, you were absolutely right about that.
It's like just feeling like when you're ripping like the thing out of the enemies with your little hooks, it feels great, and like the rain dropping, you just feel in the controller. It's like, man, it sounds like so like it doesn't matter at all. Like extra rumble, whatever. You think of the Wii or the Switch HD rumble. It's like, well,
rumble.
You don't really do anything with that, but it's like it's so cool and it really adds a lot.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I really encourage people to check this game out if you can.
Absolutely.
It could be like a tough pill to swallow for like buying it full price for some people, but this game's probably gonna not sell well, so it'll probably go on sale.
Not. Yeah,
like it bums me out. I feel like this is the fate of Tango. Like, I love all their games, but they always feel so underappreciated.
They are.
Because they're not like.
It will be on Game Pass in a year.
In a year it will be, so please play in a year. But it's like.
Yeah.
I feel like their games have rough edges.
Yeah.
But people give them too much of a hard time, I feel like.
We need games like this to exist for the industry to remain interesting. Yes. Yeah. Like,
this game is cool.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned Game Pass, because I do feel like in the traditional $60 market, this thing is going to get buried.
It will.
But like, it is the perfect Game Pass game. It is something that I definitely think could find an audience and really build that appreciation.
I hope it finds
makes me so glad that Game Pass exists.
We kind of saw a little bit of that when the Evil Within games went on Game Pass. Like people actually trying these. Like, I feel like people just don't give these games a chance a lot of times, and they just don't try them. And it's like, these games are so sick. Please try them. They're so good. It reminds me of Vanquish. Vanquish is so sick.
Yeah.
And I feel like it probably didn't get the credit it deserves, kind of thing. Like,
no,
it has its diehard fans, but it probably didn't sell well.
No, these things I feel like definitely need a Game Pass, and I'm so glad to bring attention to it. Like, just straight up, The Evil Within 1, one of the best survival horror games ever made.
Dude, I like both of them. They're both
they're both
good.
Great.
They're both
great. I like. My preference is Evil Within 1, but I absolutely recognize how good Evil Within 2 is, for sure.
It's just like, man, please play this game.
Please play it.
Please play it. This game's cool. This game's cool.
Even if you don't like it, just let us have this.
Let us have this. Please. I feel like we stick up for Tango Gameworks more than anybody in this industry.
We do. I don't think there's a game journalist organization out there that sticks up for Tango Gameworks out there.
Yeah. Please play this game. It's sick.
Fuck, dude.
It's not a 10 out of 10. Don't expect that, okay?
No,
it's an 8 out of 10.
It's not. It's
an 8 out of 10 for us, maybe a 7 for you, but it's worth a play.
Might even be a 6 for you, but remember, just do it.
It's cool, man. This game's cool.
Brad, what good energy.
I like when we just beg people.
Beg people. Just
please, man.
You're probably not going to like it, but just come on.
Just come on, dude.
Just come on.
Just give them your money.
Come on. It's time for the HOTTAKE. Brad, if you had to guess what we were talking about on this HOTTAKE, what would you guess?
Anime?
Very close.
Okay. But Kingdom Hearts.
Yep. I felt like I was in a fever dream when randomly on a Sunday, I made peace with Kingdom Hearts 3 where I'm like, oh man, that's so cool that we finally got that. Mm-hmm. I bet Kingdom Hearts 4 or the next major Kingdom Hearts game, see you in years, And obviously it's still going to be a ways. I'm not saying that, but just this announcement, actually seeing gameplay, getting some semblance of this game.
So I've known about this event happening for a long time.
But you didn't think Kingdom Hearts 4.
Right.
I knew thered be something. I knew there would be a game.
Okay.
Part of me is like, mobile bullshit.
But did you, even if you expected Kingdom Hearts 4, did you expect the amount that we saw?
No. I did not expect that. I expected maybe we are working on the next mainline Kingdom Hearts game. Here's a piece of concept art kind of thing. Here's some more
You didn't expect Endor.
Did not expect Endor. I did not expect that. No. I definitely did not.
So Brad, obviously we can go off about this game, but I actually want to talk to you, Bloodworth, because I think
yes.
Kingdom Hearts 4 is kind of in this interesting position where they've sort of wrapped up this. Kingdom Hearts 3 was wrapping up a saga. This is a new saga that Kingdom Hearts 4 is going into. I don't know how familiar you are with Kingdom Hearts, so then maybe that would be a good opening question.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I haven't really played it. I've picked him up at GT or whatever.
Yeah,
sure. You just
okay.
But I've never played through any of them.
So somebody who is relatively unfamiliar, would you want Kingdom Hearts 4 to be kind of like an olive branch to be like, hey, if you've played all the games, you'll still get a lot out of this. We're still continuing the story, but would you like to see them make an active effort to open up to new people? Is it necessary?
Yeah, I think it could help because I definitely feel it doesn't feel like it's happening. Right? Because even in the comments, people were like, you guys missed out on all this stuff that's been going on in the mobile games and this character.
I don't want to play those games. They're boring.
And it's just the series has just such
I love how commenters sometimes be like, it's not that hard to understand. It's you are lost in the sauce, man. It is. You have to have some acknowledgement on how complicated
it just has this weird habit of not acknowledging that it's throwaway games or throwaway games.
None are throwaway.
Right. But that's what I mean. People don't want to play those games, but they want the story that's in them.
I just look it up.
It's just and then you're dependent on this weird little thing, or for the longest time, Kingdom Hearts is jumping platform to platform every game, but every one of them was essential. And it's just how is anyone supposed to keep up with all that stuff?
To be fair, though, nowadays, Square Enix has done an incredible job at making this series more accessible than any other game to catch up on. You could get everything in one package.
They've made the availability of it very
$30.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great point.
But like, yes, it can be a daunting task when you look at it, of course.
Yeah. I guess this, like, thinking about it, I remember when Kingdom Hearts 1 was announced and everybody was like, oh, cool, Final Fantasy and Disney? Like, it really is worth trying to, like, put your mind back at that time. Whereas now, you hear Kingdom Hearts, like, people don't even think about it. It was the wildest fucking collaboration that you had ever heard of. And you're like, how in the world is this going to work? And I think that there was a lot of apprehension. And I think what was cool about Kingdom Hearts is, like, yeah, maybe you were in there to see Final Fantasy characters or Disney characters. Maybe that was your gateway in. But so many people got attached to the original characters.
I mean, that's what it is. It's like, yes, you come in for the Final Fantasy. You come in for the things you know. The Disney, the Final Fantasy.
Absolutely.
But it's like, man, I care more about this universe's characters more than anything.
Absolutely. Like, at this point, I don't need them to rehash Disney movies at all anymore. Like, we can just either tell original stories with those characters, which they do.
They do.
But there is a lot of...
It's like, it's not as dependent, I feel like, as it was before. Like, yes, the main ones especially definitely still have all the Disney stuff. Yes. Yeah. And this, of course, will, but it's like, they're not afraid to throw in their own things, too.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like I'm sidetracking myself because what I'm trying to say is...
Easy with this series.
I feel like with Kingdom Hearts 4, I think Kingdom Hearts is so cool, and I feel like so many people are either in or out.
Yeah.
That it would be really neat if Kingdom Hearts 4 could be a moment where it's like,
bring more people in.
Let's bring this in, like, you know, let's kind of like establish a new base for people to get in and to enjoy it and not feel like they have to play through every single one of these games or read up on all the lore. I just think there are so many people out there that have put an understandable mental barrier in front of themselves for Kingdom Hearts that if that could be removed, I think that'd be really cool. I think they'd have a blast. You know?
I mean, I'm all for more people getting in this series. Like, that's what I want. I want more people to play these games than ever. But does it seem like that's going to be the route?
Yeah.
I don't know, though, based off history and what we've seen. It's like, you know, we're continuing this story. Like, yes, this is a new saga, but there's still a lot of loose threads. A lot of loose threads. Yeah. But it's like, I guess it would be okay if people hop into this game and maybe they don't get everything.
Yeah.
But I think if you can get, like, the main grasp of the story.
Right. That's what I mean. Is like the core of it you can appreciate.
Yeah. Like, sure. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. It's so weird because Final Fantasy VII Remake is like almost that until it's not anymore.
You think it's that.
You think it's that.
You think it is. Then you're like, what's happening?
Yeah. All right, so shifting away from that, Brad is one of the biggest Kingdom Hearts fans and Easy Allies. What are you really looking forward to? Like, what do you want, especially coming after Kingdom Hearts 3 and Remind?
So, I mean, obviously, my brain immediately goes, like, what world are we going to get like that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wanted Star Wars. Seems like we're getting Star Wars, so it's good.
I want Star Wars so bad.
I think, like, Marvel would be really cool. As much as, like, I'm not as into Marvel as like a lot of other people, but it's like, I think it could be super sick seeing that Sora and Donald and Goofy interact with these characters and like what crazy spin they'll throw on everything like that.
So here's what I think is a likely scenario for what's going to happen. So Kingdom Hearts 4 will include Marvel and it will focus on like core Avengers and it will be better than the Square Enix Marvel Avengers.
Yeah, of course, yeah, no question.
Because as we know, Japanese games.
I didn't have this problem as much as a lot of other people with 3, because to me, at the point in 3, they didn't need to be in the story because it wasn't about them at this point. But it's the Final Fantasy characters. They were very absent in 3, very absent.
It really bummed me out.
They are a part of Kingdom Hearts, but they've always been They've been less important than the Disney aspects, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like early on they were
very
more
in 1 and 2, they were more, but as the series kind of gone on, they've taken a backseat because the story was focusing more on these original characters. But I think they need to be more in this game.
Yeah.
I had like a crazy brain theory of like why Cloud and Sephiroth weren't in 3 is because of Remake. and like the whole thing with remake and like the whole story is like, I could totally see Nomura being like, no, I don't want them in this game because I want stuff for remake.
What if he were to connect the Final Fantasy VII remake and Kingdom Hearts like canonically?
Sure, why the hell not? Because like you could have multi-universe bullshit. Like everyone loves that stuff nowadays. Yeah. Why the hell not? Okay.
Certainly wouldn't be a reach here.
Certainly wouldn't be a reach, especially in this series.
Do you think they would ever do like a Final Fantasy world from any of the games?
Yes.
That's what I want more than anything, Bloodworth.
So
because the Final Fantasy IX remake is coming.
Yes.
Right.
So
but one thing I also want, which could totally happen now, is since this is in Tokyo, what we've seen, a lot of this is, and who have showed up in previous games of Blood are the World Ends With You characters.
Right.
Since they've been in them before, it's like we're in Tokyo now, which is, they're kind of hinting as like the afterlife of the Kingdom Hearts universe almost. And the World Ends With You is like, you know, these people in this game are there kind of like in the afterlife in the first game. So it's like, it's all lining up, baby. All these things are happening. It's all making sense, kind of, Ben. That's what I love about Kingdom Hearts.
Brad, one of my favorite things that I can do, but I love watching it when other people do, and when the allies do it, it makes me. You are turning into a little child, and it's amazing. You are so excited, and it's so pure and raw and good. Like, this is so much fun.
It's because when I think about this series, like insanity is a common thing. Right. And there's nothing like this series out there.
Yeah.
Nothing is like this game or this series at all.
Well, it's Kingdom Hearts is a lot like anime, where I feel like detractors or people on the outside are like, this looks so lame. It's so wacky and goofy and stupid. And on some level, yes,
it is.
It is. But God damn it, if like you don't get emotional with some of those characters, some of the arcs that they go on.
The story is insane. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna tell you that these stories aren't crazy. They're absolutely crazy. But there is so much heart, no pun intended, to this series.
Yes.
And so much meaning. You can't help but get attached to these characters. You can't like if you're playing these games, you play like one or two of these games, you are in. You're locked in.
Sora, Donald, and Goofy, it's not a meme. Like, they would die for each other.
They are best bros
best bros for life. Yeah,
it's absolutely. Like, they're my family. That's what it feels like. Like, Sora is my son. Like, this is the kind of bond I have with these characters. I am related to them.
Have they ever brought in any Chrono stuff at all, or no?
Not that I'm aware of, Blood. There's been one Final Fantasy VI character appearance also.
Red Terra, right?
No, it's Setzer.
Setzer.
Yeah.
Setzer?
Yep.
Wow, what a pull.
Just Setzer.
When?
2. The Kingdom Hearts 2 Twilight Town, the struggle tournament, like when you're Roxas.
Okay.
The tournament, they have like, you know, the foam sword tournament at the beginning of the game.
Yes.
You might not remember the too well. With Cypher's there.
Yes, Cypher's there. Yep. I remember
Setzer is like the champion.
Okay, cool.
Unless there's like I don't remember any other 6 characters, but yeah. And there's been like Vivi.
You know what's awesome, Brad, is almost inexplicably, despite she's a massive Disney fan. One of my wife's favorite games is Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Like we played through all of Kingdom Hearts 1 together. We played Birth by Sleep together. She loves them. She really wants to get to 3. I reinstalled 3 last night. So we're going to get through that. We're going to do Remind. But she's never played Kingdom Hearts 2, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I only played it.
You got to go in order, baby.
Yeah.
You got to go in order.
Yeah, no. Well, it was...
Like, you got to play... Have you played Chain of Memories? Did you say that?
Like, I have played Chain of Memories. I've not finished Chain of Memories because I really don't like the combat. I know the story.
Neither do I. Put it on easy.
I really do. I hate doing that.
Through it.
I hate doing that. It like hurts me, but I do not enjoy playing that game. You won't.
I don't either. I don't like the card system.
Like, and I've fucking tried, man. Like,
put it on easy. The story is so important.
I know it's important. I know the story of it.
Dude, I will never forget this. When Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, I will never forget these people. Everyone, or so many people were complaining. People like hold Kingdom Hearts 2 up to the highest regard nowadays.
Yeah.
Dude, when this game came out,
I never understood
everyone was like, who the hell is this guy Roxas?
I thought the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 was awesome.
4-hour summer vacation.
So fucking sick.
And it's like, none of you played Chain of Memories because no one knew it existed and because it was on the damn Game Boy Advance.
Right. Kingdom Hearts 2 is so good.
Yes, it is.
I'm hungry to replay Kingdom Hearts 2.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is sick.
Yeah. Like, the combat is just a blast.
Yeah, man.
It's really, really fun.
Dude, all you out there, all in one collection.
Yep.
So simple. It's right there. Play it.
I got to do Melody of Memory too.
Yeah, it's all. It's
because I love rhythm.
Just make it happen. Make it happen. Yeah.
When I was on vacation, I finally started playing this Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage game. I know people are just gonna laugh at that, but that shit's good. It's a legitimate.
Then you're gonna like this
game.
Okay, so it's on PC, baby.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's on Switch.
I got it.
It's on Switch too.
I got it on both.
It's on PlayStation. Like blah, 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 blah. All the games are on PC now.
All right. I'm in.
No excuse.
I'm in. No
Everyone, play the series.
Do it for
play the series.
Brad.
Play them all. Sick of this shit.
It's so good. It's so good.
Sick of people talking shit on Nomura.
Blood, if anyone talks shit on Kingdom Hearts in the comments, ban them.
Yeah. I'll ban
anyone.
I'll ban you in real life.
Permaban them. Are we ready for some emails?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blood's ready.
Unhinged. All right. This first one comes in for Brandon. Hello, everyone. As of writing, I'm starting to dig into Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and judging by what I've been hearing, I might be finished with it before the next release of 2022 I'm interested in, which is the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Nice.
Well, looking at the calendar, I realized with how I have to handle my free time, I have certain criteria when prioritizing my backlog. New games that have a lot of dialogue, story, or require significant attention, I play on the weekends. Or older games, most notably games on Switch from years past that require much thought, like Super Mario Galaxy, Shovel Knight, Mario Maker 2, and Smash Ultimate, I chip away during the weeknights. This inspired me to ask you, how do you like to prioritize your backlog whenever, if ever, there's a lull in new games coming out? What criteria do you value in determining what game you should catch up on? Thanks for taking this email if you do, and stay easy, fellow allies.
Usually I just play whatever is calling to me, but often I try to avoid playing games that are too similar back to back. Like maybe 2 open world games I won't really want to do back to back. Maybe I want to fit something small in there or something a little different, just to keep the cleanse the palate, you know?
Yeah,
fresh the palate. I
am absolutely. I follow my heart.
You are the most insane person.
I am the most insane person. I definitely follow my heart, and I am you. You cannot predict what I am playing at any given point. Like, there's so many times I'm like, oh yeah, I booted this up last night, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
it's totally true. However, I do get into modes sometimes where I will play similar games back to back to back. Where like when I was in my Star Wars kick, I feel like I played like 4 or 5 or 6 like full games back to back.
Hold on, let's pause real quick. Yeah. No one on this planet gets into kicks harder than
I'm the
Ben
kick
Moore.
Master. Yeah, absolutely.
Casually playing 5 Star Wars games.
My wife gets whiplash with my kicks, yeah.
I get whiplash just hearing about it.
No, it's crazy. Because, like, I'm just so restless and all over the place. Like, Huber has been talking nonstop about Shenmue the animation, and, like, I need to play Shenmue because of this Kingdom Hearts stuff. Like, I have to play Kingdom Hearts.
Well, here's the good thing about Kingdom Hearts. You got time.
No, but like I get so
hyped up, and
I fall into these holes that I want to do it so bad, and it's so exciting. And I feel like pretty regularly, I can't just play new stuff. I can't. Like I have to dip. I have to have a sprite-based or PS1 era,
you gotta fit a
PS2 era game
thing in there.
Yeah, like constantly it has to be in the rotation. Yeah. How do you prioritize your bloodworth? Or not your blood? How do you prioritize your backlog?
Basically, Ben sends me a message asking if I'm going to be on Frame Trap, and I'm like, crap, I gotta get. What's on my list?
Yeah.
What have I played yet?
That's true. That's true.
Because otherwise, there's a lot of times where like I'm still playing the same thing I played last time.
No one does sicker progress reports though than Blood.
Well, Blood is out of any of the allies, because I definitely think all of the allies can get into their meticulous kicks or get hyper obsessed with one thing. I think we all have that to some degree, but no one is more meticulous than Blood. Like, because Blood, when you I don't think you dive into necessarily as many games, but when you fall into the hole, like, you just make it a bigger hole.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. Like, Death Stranding is a perfect example. I think when you really get into Souls, you feel that way too, and I think that's really cool. Next email comes in from Jovan. Hopefully I did not butcher that. Hey, allies. Educational games, 2 words that together are usually a red flag for gamers, but I'm not talking about something you find on a school computer. I'm talking about games that teach deeper lessons that we can apply to our actual lives. Here are some examples. Gran Turismo can teach us the fundamentals of driving. When I'm on the road, I often visualize the best way to enter and leave a curve because the efficiency is ingrained in my mind. I feel like I understand and appreciate what you're saying, but I feel like that could be dangerous.
Yeah. You're not going fast enough for that to matter too much.
Yeah. But it's so funny. It's such a great little tidbit. The philosophy of Soulsborne games teaches the virtue of patience and persistence, which can seep into our lives. The classic lesson, learn from failure, at its core. Persona 5 can be seen as a story about school kids fighting injustice, and at the same time be viewed broadly as a work-life balance simulator that can show us the importance of time management. Phoenix Wright can transform us into fully qualified and capable attorneys / detectives, and that's a fact. Good tone on this email. For me, I didn't really think much of it, but I boot up Google Earth VR pretty frequently, and I've learned so much about our planet than I would have otherwise. That immersion really makes it stick harder in comparison to reading, watching a documentary, or listening to others' experiences. Do you have any games that come to mind for you as far as learning something? Any particular lessons that have stuck with you over the years? If you could transform something you want to learn into an actually good game, what would it be? Example, Dragon Quest, but teaches you Japanese, or Cooking Mama, but Gordon Ramsay levels of detail.
Yeah, learning another language would be sick.
Yeah, if there was a Dragon Quest teaches Japanese, I'd like, I will pay any amount
Dragon
of money.
Quest teach me anything.
Yeah, but particularly Japanese. 18-day streak on my Duolingo.
Oh, wow.
Learn Japanese.
Cool.
Yeah. My go-to example, and I hesitate to say this because there's still so much about skateboarding I don't know. Admittedly, I don't want to act like an expert or anything. I'm not. But without Tony Hawk, I would not care about skateboarding. Without Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like that game got me so into skateboarding and its culture, and it still is having an effect. Because that was like, I was a child when... I was like, 10 years old when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 came out, and like the effects of that game and the influence that it's had on my life and my interests is still happening at age almost 33.
You know, I was definitely in the skateboarding scene. You know, I grew up in Southern California, you know, like in the early 2000s, late 90s, like, and I remember Tony Hawk coming out.
Yeah.
I was maybe I was junior high when it came out or something like that, but I've been skating for a while, but it's like, I remember that really nailing the culture really well at the time.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed with that.
It's hard to overstate how colossal that game was.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't really that many great skateboard games at the time. Mm-hmm. There was like, okay games, you know, you'd put up with things. But like Tony Hawk came around, I was like, whoa.
My wife and I, there's a new Tony Hawk documentary on HBO Max.
Sick.
It made me like cry. You should watch it. It's amazing. But I was talking to my wife and I was like, I really cannot convey to you, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is not just good for a skateboarding game. I legitimately think it stands the test of time as one of the best video games of all time.
Honestly, it's like some of like the best pure arcade gaming to me.
Yeah. Oh man, R.I.P. Neversoft.
Yeah. In terms of like learning anything, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, the things that come to my mind are like stuff that's like, you know, it's kind of like, it is inherent in there, right? Like Carmen Sandiego.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Was so good.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Isla just checked out that Chinatown Detective Agency and had an episode on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and it was so funny because it's like one of those things where, you know, I didn't realize that Carmen Sandiego was an influence on that game. And then once I knew that and I saw the gameplay, I was like, oh, yeah, it totally is. But the funny thing about it is they were saying that you actually like Google stuff in that game. Like there will be questions that, like, you have to like actually look up this quote and see like who said this quote or whatever. But then at the same time, you're actually dodging game guides.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
while doing that.
Yeah, that's tricky.
But it's interesting. It's interesting to pull things like that while in the midst of like solving cases in like a dramatic, you know, detective game.
Oh my God, sorry. I have an example.
Great.
Final Fantasy 11, I learned to type because of that game pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's so sick.
Like I could like, you know, like kind of like pick before, but like, once I started playing that game, I had to talk to people in real time.
Because voice chat, you know, Discord calls was not really a same thing.
I got
at the time.
the keyboard for PS2, and I was type it on that.
Dude, that brings me back to the Phantasy Star Online Dreamcast days. I had the Dreamcast keyboard. Yeah.
Do you think that, like I wonder like how early kids learn to type now. Do you think because like it's so much different? Like I remember in high school, like keyboarding class and stuff like that.
Right.
I think.
I mean, we had actual typewriters.
Yeah. So I think we had a couple typewriters. I remember in some classes.
Part of me wonders if just like it's so ubiquitous in
like
interfacing with
just
people
knows now.
that I'd have to imagine it comes more easily.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Crazy.
But yeah, we definitely had a keyboarding class as well. Our last email comes in from Andrew, who asks, Sekiro or Elden Ring?
Man, they're so different.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I can't answer this question.
Let's get into the email, though. Okay. Hey, Alice, I've been chatting with coworkers about Elden Ring, and every opportunity, we're all really enjoying the game, but an interesting discussion has come up about the bosses of the game. Some of my coworkers say that the bosses were disappointing to them. I've also found that they all consider Sekiro to have the best bosses and be the best game of the series. Do you think the quality of the bosses in Sekiro is better than Elden Ring? And how much does boss quality affect your opinion of the game overall? Thanks for taking my question. If you do, love and respect, Andrew.
Okay, so there's a lot to get in with this question, okay? So, obviously, I think Sekiro has really good boss fights. Yeah. Really good, because they are tailor-made for one specific playstyle. Yeah. Everything is very focused about how you're going to approach this fight.
Right.
They know how you're going to go with this. Elden Ring, there's so many different options that you can do for a fight. It could change things dramatically. Also, Elden Ring has an insane amount of boss fights.
An incomprehensible number of bosses.
Yeah. Obviously, things will suffer because there's so many. But I still think Elden Ring has some really cool boss fights.
Right.
Like, honestly, the last fight of Sekiro is, like, my favorite boss fight of all time. I think about it. Like, just the final gauntlet of that game I love. Yeah. But I think Elden Ring has some really sick fights. Like, I don't really want to spoil them.
Yeah.
Because it's still kind of early, but...
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of what Brad is... Like, the combat style in Sekiro is so focused and so, intent on like, no, you've got to learn this or you're not going to get any farther. Whereas, Elden Rings and even Dark Souls, like they give you a lot of other tools. So it's like, okay, if this thing isn't clicking with you, then you try something else, admittedly, the bosses aren't always tuned for that something else. They're tuned for you to go toe to toe, head to head. And so if you use some other technique, the boss just can't always counteract that.
That's just the nature of it.
Maybe I will feel differently when I finish the game, but from my own personal experience right now, why I think Elden Ring is genius, why I think it is a masterpiece is precisely because not every boss fight is equally perfect or majestic or grandiose. Because the main boss fights that you do, so honestly, I can think of 2 boss fights right off the top of my head that are some of like the most insane, visually impressive, and mechanically very cool boss fights that I can think of in recent memory. But they're main story boss fights, and then there are a lot of like little dungeon boss fights that you spend a couple minutes on. But that's exactly the rhythm of the game and why it's important. It is so big, it's so all-encompassing, that if every single boss fight took me 2 hours to get through, I would hate it, right?
You don't want that.
I don't want everything to be mechanically complex, but it's still nice having a little encounter at the end, right? Challenge. And so those ebbs and those flows, those peaks and those valleys allow the high points to be so high.
Yep.
And so I think... While I agree, I think Sekiro is a much more crafted game. It is because it is so restricted, and I don't even mean that as an insult. Like, Sekiro and Elden Ring are inverses of each other.
Yeah, they are.
But I think for what Elden Ring is trying to do, the boss fights being all over the place actually really helps it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's like, can you think of an open world game with better bosses than Elden Ring? The answer is no.
I guess if you really wanted to be cheeky, maybe you could say Shadow of the Colossus, but it doesn't really count.
Yeah, but it's like some of the Colossus aren't that great.
Well, I feel like saying Shadow of the Colossus open world is a stretch to begin with. It's basically just boss fights with land in between them.
But it's really hard for me to compare because they're so different. But yes, I could see like someone feeling like that. Even Mike had that kind of feeling. But like I talked to him about it more. Yeah. And I kind of dove into about it with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, kind of." It's hard to say, like, because Sekiro is so finely tuned for that specific thing. Yeah. Very specific. But Elden Ring's like, go nuts. Do it how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Use the jellyfish.
See, Blood likes the jellyfish.
Elden Ring is the loosest Soulsborne game that From Software has made.
Most freedom.
I love that. But I get why some people would.
Yeah,
this is not an insult to people that don't like it. Fun thing to talk about. Super fun episode of Frame Trap. Good energy. Yeah. Thank you so much to Daniel Bloodworth. And once again, filling in, Bradley Ellis really brought the heat, which I appreciate because you are on the show more than anybody else. So
Unofficial co-host.
Unofficial co-host. If you'd like to send an email to Frame Trap. I'm losing my mind. AskEasyAllies@gmail.com. One more time, that is AskEasyAllies@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.